Welcome everyone. It has been a while since we've seen y'all, so I'm happy to see some of y'all coming back, and we're, getting started again after a whole year. We left for a little bit, but so we're happy to have you here. Just as a reminder that, all of you attending and engaging, and that's what drives us to keep going and working to, grow a design community. So you will be hearing more from us soon. We do need some help, and we would love to have some of y'all get involved and join the board to help us out and, share and give back to the community and just help us set up programming and do all these things and really give back, because we are ready and excited to get back, start hosting events. We'll do some online still. Hopefully we can slowly transition to do some in-person events or some hybrid stuff. But we definitely need the help, and we want to hear both your ideas and just, get a good variety of people to help us out. So these are some of the positions we have open. We're open to other things if you have an idea, but these are our key things that we want to fill so that we can, really put on some good events and give stuff back to y'all. So communications director, it's mostly social media, all of our events, emails, all that kind of stuff. Programming to help us organize these events and just make sure everything runs smoothly. Education to keep connected with, the schools and student groups and just have that connect there, so that we can keep them back to the community and bringing them in. Sponsorship, as we're a nonprofit, it's always good to get a little extra something to make things work, and someone to manage your web presence as well. So if you're interested or anything, have any questions, email me, president@sanantonio.aij.org. You can help at any capacity if you're not ready to go on full time. Like, we're a team and we can work together. So yes, if you're interested, let me know. And then just real quick, some few upcoming events as we're slowly restarting. Actually, AIG National is doing their AIG portfolio festival that they did last time, and they've got great speakers. They've got various reviews, workshops, everything related to, bringing your portfolio up to snuff and tips on how to present it and everything like that. So I put up a link to the national site with all the information to register on our Linktree if you go there. And I know that tickets are selling out pretty quickly, but I think it's something that would be really, really valuable to a lot of us. Coming up next month, we've got a fireside chat with the team at Polywork, which is a new kind of like professional network and way to showcase yourself and all that you do. That's not just, your work, but anything adjacent like AIGA, right? And volunteering for stuff like that and being able to showcase your stuff without having to go and like build a whole website and do the whole thing. So if it's anything, we're going to chat with them about their process, their design process, UX, all that, how they handle that. So keep an eye out. This will be up on our social media soon. Once we are ready to register, just wanted to save the date. And then for Nicte here, Nicte has been a great part of the community for a while now. She is awesome. She is a great designer, brand strategist, and she is also a LinkedIn author and instructor. She's got a lot of valuable things to share. So I really do hope you pay attention and enjoy. And Nicte, I am going to give it away to you. And thank you again.
Everybody. So I am super excited to be here virtually because, as some of you guys know, I recently moved to Las Vegas because of my husband's job. So that makes us move around quite a bit, but we are making it work in a new place. So I'm definitely missing San Antonio. So you guys are here and we're going to talk about LinkedIn for creatives. And I am super excited about this topic because there's just going to be so much value for you. So make sure that if you have any questions along the way, put them in the chat. We'll address them towards the end. So let's get started. Please tell me in the chat, raise your hand, throw an emoji, whatever it is, if you have felt like this or feel like this. Not another social media platform to drive me bananas. If you feel that LinkedIn is like a social media platform that now you have to invest and figure out and if you're trying to manage all these other platforms and you feel this overwhelmed. So if you guys are feeling like this or have felt like this, because I definitely did, being fully honest, before I saw the true value in LinkedIn, I was overwhelmed and I didn't really leverage LinkedIn because I didn't really understand the power behind it. So that's why I'm here to share all the great insight for you guys and how you can leverage that. And I don't want you to feel bananas. So hopefully after we finish our conversation, you'll be excited, have some actionable insight points that you can do to really stand out on LinkedIn as a creative. So we're going to focus on 3 factors today, and we're going to start with knowing your goals. Then we're going to talk about creating a rockstar profile, and then we're going to move into content best practices. So before we get started, we're going to go into knowing your goals. Before you apply this for like any social media platform, and LinkedIn really isn't a social media platform for many, it's more of a connection area for professionals and executives. And really, it's not just about posting funny TikToks with the random fly swatting. You guys know what I'm talking about, where people are just doing all this pointing in the air. LinkedIn is completely different and valuable, especially when you're trying to land new jobs or get new clients, put your name out there. Before you get into any platform, especially in LinkedIn, you need to be very clear about what your goals are. So being clear, if you want to land a new job, or do you want to showcase your work to land new clients? So let's say you're a freelancer and you eventually want to start your own company, or you just want to freelance on the side and share some of your print work for people to purchase. Or if you want to become a thought leader and you want to start sharing valuable insight, all of these things are very, very important. So if you guys are in the world of LinkedIn and you haven't done this component of like really being clear, make sure that after we have this chat conversation, go back, give yourself like 5-20 minutes, whatever you feel, to write down what are the things that you really want to show up as and be known for in LinkedIn. So that's going to help you, and you'll see how as we go through this conversation, that's really going to mesh into this creative strategy that we're talking about for LinkedIn. Now, let's talk about how you can create a rockstar profile. So you see here one of my examples of my current profile. And the first thing that most usually we can all connect as creatives is a headshot. So you've seen the transition when people were working from home, they had more of a less business headshot and they were kind of being a little bit more themselves, which is great. As long as you have great lighting, and I'm not going to go into the specifics because we're designers, creatives, we get that. But one of the things that I really want you guys to think about is having a personable headshot, one that reflects you, your personality, and that brand that you're trying to build. Or if you work for a company, something that infuses that and showcases your personality. So try to avoid either not having a profile photo at all, or ones where your actual face is so far that it's hard to see, or you're kind of like blocking your face where it's a little too mysterious. If you're trying to build these connections, those things are very crucial because we want that connection with people. Then the next thing you want to do is leverage your cover photo. So your cover photo is the area at the very top. You can see some examples here. What a lot of people have done is that they haven't really leveraged that to use those to showcase some of their current work, some of their photography, or things that really reflect them as a creative. This can be something that you change quarterly or once a month, but be very strategic with what content you use there. So for me, I typically either add a campaign that I'm working on or some sort of branded project that I did for a client so that it reflects the type of work that I have. And make sure that you reflect this. If you're going to go live to talk about something, you want to become a thought leader, this is another great way for you to change that cover area to reflect you're going to talk on X day at X time. It's another great way to build that momentum and be unique. The next thing is you want to have a descriptive headline. This is verbatim from LinkedIn. As you guys know that I work with them, so I get some good insight from them. Descriptive headline. You want to really go into what you do, who it's for, and if you can, factor that in, why you do that. Because at the end of the day, whoever's coming to look at your profile wants to know what's in it for them. If we say something like, let's say mine just said, I'm a designer. Okay, great. Well, we had so many different types of design applications, design focuses that we can do. How does that make me different from, let's say I had a twin sister, Nicte B, and she's also a designer. Well, how does that make us different, right? So this is where you being specific and really being intentional about your headline and how you do what you do, your focus and how you make it unique for who you serve, that makes you stand out. So don't go just saying I'm a designer or a UX designer. Really try to be captivating in that sense and do some research. Take a look at some of the people who have other types of profiles. There are people who have several things that they do. They might be a speaker, they might be an author, and they add those elements in. But if you take a look at their growing and their growth on LinkedIn, they already have so many people coming in that they're allowed to, or it's easier for them to include all of those elements. But if you're starting out and you're really trying to build that momentum and recognition, be very intentional with your headline. Then when you're going into your edit mode for your profile, you're seeing kind of like what I would see on the desktop or on the mobile, you can add services. So if you are looking to get a job, you can still add services of what type of work that you provide. It could be with marketing. There's a whole different options and they're multiple choice. You can't necessarily type them up, but this is another added level of information that you can provide for people. So think about this in the way that someone comes to your profile, they may be interested in hiring you or contract you for some work. And all of these information that you're putting in makes it easier for them to get more insight about you and make that ultimate decision before they reach out to you to kind of chat one-on-one. And if you think about it, a lot of people, especially higher ups, CEOs, marketing managers, they're very busy people. So the more information that you give for them ahead of time, the better, because then it saves them time from trying to figure out who you are, what you do, and they don't lose interest, because if you're not giving them that wow factor, something that's memorable to what they are looking for, you're going to lose an opportunity. So adding your services can help you add another level of focus. Like I could do design, but there's graphic design, logo design, visual design. And again, they are not as specific. You only get a limited amount, but this is really great to add that into your information. Now here you also see this magical blue button where it says open to. If you guys haven't leveraged this lately, sorry, my dog. If you guys haven't leveraged this lately, this is really great if you're looking for a new job or if you are on the other side where you're trying to hire. When you click on the blue button open to, it brings this like semi-circle, semi-half moon green little bar that says like hashtag open to work, or if you're hiring, it'll be a purple one that says hiring. And this is a great visual cue for people to know if they come across your profile, hey, you're looking for work, great. If they're looking for someone that has all the things that you can provide, that's another great visual reference for people to know. And this was more of a recent application that LinkedIn did during especially the pandemic to really support people in getting them into jobs or getting them into some side, creative things that they need to do. So let's get a little deeper into the profile. You guys, this is a little bit of work, but it helps you really hone in and be specific. Again, provide everything that you can to the people who will be potentially interested in you. And this is where you make that happen. This is like your virtual resume. Your about section would be a little bit lower under the profile for when we were at on the last page. And that typically is more like a little bit about you. Make that in first person. So it's like you speaking, I do this, etc. Infuse what you are wanting to be known for, what your focus is. So add a little bit of personality to that and who you are there to support. Now, LinkedIn only shows about 90 of those words on the preview. So if you're thinking about someone who's busy, trying to look at your profile, if you have so much information there, like a really long letter, I will admit I had that before. I learned LinkedIn strategy to not do that. No one's going to really read all of that information. So you got to be strategic to use that as, or your about as your next kind of throwing in the hook to reel more people in. Give them enough short. If you can keep it short to 90 words, it's going to be amazing, because then that's what shows up in the preview. But if you need to add a little bit more, I have a little bit more than that, but I'm very concise. That helps you build the levels. Then in your experience section, if you've worked in different industries or if you've volunteered or if you have an internship, make sure that you add those in there and add all the things that you did. Keep as you're working with people right now and you're looking in the future to potentially go into another job, start making a list of all the types of projects that you've done. See if you can find any quantifiable data as far as the results of your work. So let's say you worked on a campaign and you designed all these branded elements or you took photography for that campaign. Look at the results of how that work impacted people who were trying to reach out. So if you were trying to raise awareness for the community for a specific subject matter, then you can get with a marketing company, find that data and say, this campaign was able to reach X, I don't know, let's say 15,000 people who were really looking for more resources on the impact of finding new jobs in the area of San Antonio. So these are all quantifiable, really great ways for us as creatives, especially designers, to really showcase and connect the value behind design. Because I'm sure you guys have encountered this, is sometimes people think that our work is cheap. We click a button and we're done and magic happens. And this is a great way to strategically start to show that with data and numbers. Just make sure you don't fib your numbers. Ask anyone that is involved in the marketing, that someone that's doing the analytics, get you all these numbers so that you can use that and connect that with the work that you do. You can go into my profile, take a look at what I've listed under some of my experience when I used to work at the zoo. We did a lot of stuff there, so I have more numbers in there. But make sure that you can leverage that. You can also add images or some like photos of your portfolio projects. You can add links inside each of these experiences that you have listed. So as I have for my business, then as a LinkedIn author, and then when I worked at the zoo, I included some of those projects in there. So this is a really great strategic way to include the diversity or just the breadth of work that you can do in different areas, and gives people the option to click and look at other things that you've done. The next thing is recommendations. I cannot express how important recommendations can be for LinkedIn, because I can sit here and tell you like, oh, I'm great at this, or, I'm a little shy about talking about what I do, so I'm a little shy and kind of like reserved. But if someone's trying to hire me and that's how I'm showing up, one, they're not going to really listen to me. And two, if we're being completely honest, we tend to value the opinion of someone else that works with that person or that showcases like, hey, I use this product, this is what I think, than what that person themselves is talking about what they do. So getting recommendations from people that you've worked with, people that have hired you, even your peers, is really, really helpful, because in that way you can use those to tell people like, hey, here's some of the recommendations that I've got. People have been expressing what it's like to work with me. If you have any more questions, so you're not using your own words, and people will start to see like, okay, hey, this person can do XYZ. That's really great. My interest is even more piqued. Next thing you want to do is have a custom URL. If you guys haven't done this yet, please do so, because if you're trying to share your LinkedIn profile with someone, you're going to have like a bunch of numbers and letters and Java, et cetera, getting confusing. So what you want to do is when you go to edit your profile, it's going to be to your top right hand side, and you'll be able to see get custom URL. Click on that. If you have a unique name like me, it's going to be easy to get just your name, last name, boom, you're great. If you don't, try to get creative, maybe add a number there, something that makes sense to be able to have this. Is going to be really easy, because as you're sharing for people to connect with you on LinkedIn, you can say, hey, find me on LinkedIn at Nicte Cuevas. Okay, great. So that's a really great way to do that. And make sure if you don't have your custom URL, please do that. So let's get into something that's super exciting for me. So if you guys haven't heard of creator mode, I am kind of curious if you guys have seen this, know what this is about. If not, just kind of put it in the chat. This is just kind of for my own curiosity's sake. But creator mode is something that LinkedIn recently launched, and this is a very strategic and creative way to leverage and empower creators. So if you are a thought leader, you're trying to be out there more, if you have video tutorials on YouTube or any other platform, and you're trying to leverage that, you're trying to get new clients, you really want to stand out in the industry, creator mode is definitely something that you want to consider. So essentially what creator mode is that once you go on your mobile device, that's where you want to set it up. You'll go to your profile and then you'll scroll down to where you'll see something that says turn on creator mode. You can't really see it on mine because I already have the actual implementation, so I can't show you that. But if you Google how to do that from LinkedIn, it'll show you exactly what it looks like, but it's really self-explanatory. Once you click on and kind of swipe it to turn creator mode on, you'll get a screen that asks you, great, this is wonderful. What types of topics are you going to talk about? You see what I talked about earlier, where knowing what you want to be known for is going to be really valuable. This is where this helps, because what you'll do is you'll add hashtags of the type of content that you'll talk about. So on my creator profile, I talk about color psychology, branding, cultural diversity. So it's all listed there. So when someone comes into my profile and wants to learn more about the type of content that I'm sharing, you'll see a little area on the bottom under my headline that says talks about, and then you'll see the hashtags. You can have from 3 to 5, maximum of 5 hashtags, and that's really great. So as you're resharing your content, you can reuse those hashtags strategically to whatever type of content that you're talking about that uses that particular subject, or you're focusing on that. Once you enable creator mode, this is where it gets really great, because I'm sure if you guys haven't experienced this, you get random people asking you to connect and they don't send you a personal message saying, hey, I met you on one of the AIGA conversations from San Antonio. I thought this was really helpful. My name is so and so. Okay, great. There's an initial point. But I've gotten a lot of people just asking me to connect without any introduction, or even saying like, hey, I just want to connect with you. Well, what's the value behind that? And a lot of people, especially people, if you're trying to get hired and the higher ups, they're not going to listen to you if you just show up that way. So using creator mode actually switches the connect piece of whenever you go to someone's profile, it'll say connect, it'll say follow instead. So that's really great for people to follow your content. You could be a little more selective as to who you let into your inner LinkedIn circle with the connections, and you can grow your audience that way. So that's really great. And it does it automatically for you, because you can turn that on through LinkedIn, like your regular profile, without having a creator mode, but this just makes it really great. And one of the really great things too with creator mode is that you can now, like on your actual image, have a 30-second video that tells people who you are. So you can actually really leverage the power of video. So instead of seeing your image or your photo for your profile photo, you'll see a video. So that's where you can talk about who you are, what you do, and really build that connection. People get to see your body language, your excitement when you're talking about whatever it is that you want to focus on. That's very important to be present. If you don't feel comfortable on video, it's okay. You don't have to use this, but this is really, really great. Another thing that you may want to consider doing is, if you have a unique name like me, a lot of people may be worried about butchering it. So there is a feature right next to your name. You'll see like a little sound bar icon. If you click on that, you'll actually be able to record your voice and say Nicte Cuevas. So that way, anyone who is curious and wants to connect with me, but wants to know how to say my name right, they click on that, they know how to say it, and that's great. And so many people have already used that. So if you haven't leveraged that, or you have a difficult last name, this is really great for you to use that. So creator mode, highly, highly recommended. And now this kind of gets me to the social selling index, SSI. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this, but this has been a game changer for me to really have a better idea of how I am engaging and connecting with others on LinkedIn, aside from like the metrics that you can see in your post. So if you want to look at your own SSI, and we'll talk about this in a second, go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI. You guys are seeing my SSI here. And what it does is it gives you a breakdown of how you're showing up in 4 different key areas, and it'll tell you the 4 components. So when you search for each of those, it'll actually tell you if you're building your brand, how you're building your own brand, right? So like kind of like a personal brand, how you're engaging with others. So establishing connections means if you're reaching out to people to connect, but being very intentional, and that it's someone that would be a great connection to your industry. LinkedIn is like able to figure all this out, which is really great. The other one is engagement, how you're connecting and engaging with your community, and about building relationships. So when you look at that and you click on the questions, it actually is a really great breakdown and some insights as to what you can do to improve this. My ranking is a little low than what it normally is. I have not met anyone that has like 100 or even in the 90s yet. So don't take this as like a must follow to be able to, find success as a creative on LinkedIn. No, but this really helps you understand how you can be more active, especially if you're searching for a job or looking for some contract work. This will really help you understand how you're connecting and engaging. Especially creatives, we don't tend to do this. We are more kind of like into our creative circle of just sharing things that inspire us, but not thinking of how we can turn our stories to inspire others who may want to hire us. So people in our industry, it'll kind of give you a comparison of people in our industry and people in other industries. So a lot of people within the creative industry have a much lower SSI because, again, kind of what we're talking about, we're not really as active. So this has also made me be more present and being more intentional about how I show up and the content that I post, making sure that it has value for the people that I want to connect with and the people that I want them to watch my courses or the people that I want to turn into clients. So highly, highly recommend this. Now, let's talk about content best practices. If your head is burning right now, I promise you this will make sense. You guys will have the replay, I believe. So just take it a step at a time. You cannot force yourself to try to have your profile in one day. And if you can, you're that awesome. More power to you. That's fantastic. It took me months to really get my profile where I wanted it to be. So please give yourself that grace, pause if it gets overwhelming. And if you guys have questions, I'm always here. So let's talk about content best practices. And I want to get a little straightforward with you guys. If you guys are on Instagram, which I am, that's where I really was going like fully on in before I started to really embrace LinkedIn intentionally. I want to say stop treating LinkedIn like it's Instagram, right? So this means we need to stop posting empty taste the rainbow content. What I mean is, back in like around 2006 when Instagram was really big and people would just post photos of them having coffee or, hey, it's a picture of me standing by a tree. I love color, but you'll never see me say living the color rainbow by a beautiful mural. I don't just post bland content, especially on LinkedIn, because people are there to learn, to grow, to be inspired, and to find something that they can really just connect with. No one's going to connect with a picture of me that's self-serving saying, hey, I'm in front of a rainbow mural. Great, good job. So stop thinking if you are treating LinkedIn this way, please stop treating that and really essentially any social media. Really think about value and how you can turn your stories from the work that you do into something that inspires someone else or teaches them something. So here are some content best practices. Again, going back to the focus topics. When you know what you want to be known for, you're going to really be able to have focused content. You can think about, even go to the extent of saying, hey, this month I really want to focus on the power of UX design. And then break that down into subcategories that you can, yes, you're talking about UX design as a whole, but you can talk about a different key category every week, right? So then that's how you kind of build your content that way. Being very focused is going to help you in the long run. And it does take time, if I'm being completely honest, it does take time to get there. But once you do, it starts to click and it's kind of like learning how to ride the bicycle or learning how to swim. You're kind of pushing this creative muscle to get this. And if you love what you do, it's going to get to the point where it's not stressful or hard to talk about something that you're so passionate about. The next thing is about conversations over noise. I cannot stress that enough. Again, it's going back to those empty posts. So picture of me in front of a tree, woohoo, that's great. Nothing that I can learn from that. Thinking about what is in it for them in the sense of the other people on the screen, the people that's in your audience, in your community, engaging with them. So as you're posting content, have something that's like a call to action, ask them a question. If you're talking about, hey, I took a trip to this beautiful museum. I wanted to get inspired because I felt like I was going through a creative rut. Even though as a creative, I keep pushing, etc. You tell a personal story, then you can have some sort of call to action to generate conversation that asks people, how do you get away, or how do you find inspiration when you feel like you have a creative rut? This is where you start to build those conversations with your community. And what LinkedIn values, the algorithm, is these conversations. It's not the likes or the hearts. It's these conversations that matter. So as more people engage with your content, and as you start to engage with other people's content, this is where the magic starts to happen. You start to build this community, which is so important. So it's a professional community, but you're starting to build those connections. So never forget about that. If you're going to post content, just dedicate some time to write a comment on some of the people that you find really valuable, who are sharing some really great insight, or sharing content that someone else posted but you felt would be very valuable. So it could be someone else's blog. Share that with your community. Those are all really valuable and really, really helpful for you to build that community that I was talking about. It's about those conversations. Now we're going to talk about mixing up your content. So I get so excited, you guys, that I get like, very movementy. So I'm going to slow down for these because there's a lot of type of content that you can use and leverage on LinkedIn. This doesn't mean that you have to use every single component. So when you think about how you want to show up and where you want to really focus and hone in on and what you want to be known as, then you can start to pull these and see, okay, hey, I could do LinkedIn Lives, like once I get approved type thing. Or I'm really great at video. I feel great doing videos and doing some explanations to help, potential clients. Great, you can leverage that. But you don't have to do all these. So take these as inspiration and possibilities, different routes of navigations that you can take, but make sure that you are intentional with these. So there's videos. What I tend to do is, if I have some YouTube videos that I'll share, great. Sometimes some of the videos that I do share on Instagram can actually fit into LinkedIn and the audience, so I do use those. And I also use a lot of my coursework for the courses that I've done for LinkedIn Learning. But what I always do is, I don't think you guys can read everything in here, but I tell a story. So instead of me just posting, hey, I have this course right here on LinkedIn, make sure you watch it. That's bland. That's not going to make someone see the value, know what it's about, because we kind of want that instant gratification. I want to know what it's about. Tell me why I should watch it. So I told a story. I told about how color is really connected to me and rooted in my Latina heritage, and how I really am connected with color and culture. And that's how I created this course for LinkedIn Learning. And that if you wanted to learn more, make sure that you watch this course. So I shared a small story about that to give it more emphasis, to give it more power and meaning, and tell people like, oh, this is a great way for me to learn something, instead of just saying, watch my video, great, woohoo. Live streams, if you are approved, I've been approved for quite a while. I haven't used it because I want to be very strategic. So make sure that if you do get approved and you want to leverage live streams on LinkedIn, be very intentional, have a call to action, and make sure that you have some sort of cadence as to how often you want to show up, because your audience is going to want to come back and hear more from you and everything. So be very intentional about that. The next one is carousels as documents. So this is where we kind of merge a little bit of Instagram. If you guys have seen those little kind of swipe where you see several images, and you can leverage this as a document. So where it makes sense is, let's say you're trying to teach your audience something. If we're going to try to talk about the best practices for UX design, okay, great. You can grab these graphics. If you're not on Instagram, it's okay. You can create these separate little graphics. And what you do is you import them into a PDF and just import the images, boom, boom, boom. Then you save that as a PDF, upload that as a document. So when you click on the plus symbol to add a new post, you'll see an option to add documents. When you do that, you'll have that same swiping effect as like a carousel, using that same type of content. So if you are on Instagram, like I am, I've grabbed these, put them into a PDF, upload them as a document, and there, voila, I'm able to repurpose the content only when it makes sense. So this is a really, really great way for you to leverage and use different type of content inside LinkedIn to diversify what you are sharing. The next one is what most of us do is the photos. You can share some really great creative photos, but always tell a story behind that. If it's a photo shoot from a client project that you were doing, if you were art directing the shoot, or if you were the photographer yourself, tell a story of, the struggles that maybe it was a really windy day, but then you were managed to get everything, or if there's like little kids around, making them smile. And it's that added connection that tells that story behind the visuals that's so powerful. LinkedIn stories, that's still kind of fairly recent. So if you guys haven't used these are really great way to kind of tell people about your day and add a little bit more insight. And it's not heavily populated as with the other platforms. So there's still a lot of great opportunity to build and connect with others. In my example here, you guys haven't caught it, I'm going to point it out. I have link in bio. So if you're going to use something that you're using from Instagram, and if you're using anything for TikTok, please make sure there's no watermarks or anything, because people get annoyed with it and it just feels like we get lazy with our content. Just make sure whatever you're going to post on LinkedIn stories does apply to LinkedIn stories. There is no link in bio for LinkedIn. So if I was to share this as a LinkedIn story, people would know that I'm just repurposing my content from something from like Instagram. So be very intentional and paying attention to these types of things, that if you do add call to actions, just change the graphics so that you can use that for your stories. The next one is client testimonials. Circling back to these recommendations that you can get from others, like your peers, you can turn them into a graphic. Why not? That's a great way for you to create different content, and it's not just kind of copy pasting the words. You're adding some visual elements and you're giving people, again, a chance to learn more about you. I tend to do this for courses. I use this for client testimonials, recommendations. This is great. This is another, you have a content there, just copy paste, have your template there, and just showcase that and share. And really focus when you are sharing testimonials, make it about the person, what was in it for them. Not like, oh, this is, hey, look, sharing a testimonial, woohoo, that's it. Really try to tell a story behind that and pull some areas about their pain points, like how your work helped them, or some training or seminar that you did and there's some key point that really impacted them. Try to highlight that and share that within your content. The next one is articles and newsletters. So if you guys haven't used articles yet, it's a really great way for you to leverage more in-depth and specific content that's a little longer form. And from what I've learned from LinkedIn, the ideal size is somewhere between 300 to 500 words. So you don't want to make it super lengthy. And this is really great, like I said, to really build your thought leadership and share more insightful content. Articles are available to everyone right now. So anytime you want to write something, you can repurpose a blog and be strategic, add new elements that would reflect for your audience on LinkedIn and what their needs are and their interests, and leverage that. This is really great way to, again, build that momentum, create different content. Now, newsletters, if you guys have seen a few of these around, only a few of us have access to this, and I can't say when it's going to be open to the public, but I do know at one point it will. And when it does, you want to make sure if this is something that you do want to apply, have a plan in place. So think of all the things that we're talking about today, putting that into a plan and saying, hey, I really want to leverage newsletters. And if you guys don't think that this is powerful, just to let you know, I doubled my newsletter subscribers within less than a week than what I had built in 3 years using for like my own email subscribers for the business. So this is really powerful. It's free, great way to reach a broad audience for you to put your name out there. It's very shareable, so people can comment, share with others. So this is really, really great. You can still definitely do that with articles. So please don't, forget the power of that. When you get to the newsletter portion and that's open up to the audience, I know LinkedIn is probably going to share a lot of great resources to get you started, but you can brand your headers, you can give it a name and let people know what they're going to expect for that. Those same things still, you can apply them for your article. So that way you become known for that particular type of content and really establish that thought leadership that you're trying to do. So we talked just now about mixing up your content. Next, we're going to just talk briefly about posting cadence and hashtags. So hashtags, really simple. You want to keep it to 3 to 5. There's no need to add like 30 hashtags or 15 or whatever, like in other platforms. 3 to 5 is ideal. So you want to be very strategic with your hashtags. Don't say eating the rainbow, something like that. And I'm talking about the color because I obviously use a lot of color. So I want to use that as an example, but be very intentional about the types of hashtags that you use. Posting cadence, like I said, it's kind of like building a muscle. So you want to make sure you're trying to be intentional and dedicate some time. If you really are looking to land new work or, find contract work, get hired by someone else, you're going to have to kind of push on LinkedIn, because this is the place where you can actually find higher paying clients. Because I know I've seen the difference from LinkedIn to Instagram. It could still happen, but it's a lot more work. LinkedIn makes it easier because you're actually in an audience of professionals who understand a lot more the value of design, and you're able to really captivate and connect with people. So what LinkedIn recommends is to try to post 4 times a week. But I say sometimes life happens. There's times when I can only post twice a week. If you can't, then just go and engage with people. Set some time, like 5-10 minutes. When you're having like a long day and you kind of want to distract yourself, go and see what your community is posting. Go comment with them, engage. You don't always have to post. And if you can, just try to do 2 posts a week. Give yourself, those little baby steps to build up to that, and making sure that whatever you post is valuable for people. And you want to have a call to action, whether it's you can read more on my blog, you subscribe to my email newsletter, and if you're not having access to the LinkedIn ones, you can have your own email newsletter for your company. Tell me how you feel about this. How do you tackle this? So you can build those conversations, but always have some sort of call to action. This is really, really powerful for you. You want to show your energy and excitement across all the topics that you talk about and that you want to be known as an expert in. Because if that's not shown through your words, your language, your videos, any type of content that you use, people won't feel connected, and it's less likely for them to remember you because we're bombarded with so many content across the board. So you want to make sure that you're true to yourself, but you show that excitement that you love what you do so that people can feel that on the other side of the screen. I shared so much stuff that I could keep going. I get super excited, so I'm sure people may have questions. But there is a great course that I want to lead you guys to that build a lot of these strategies for LinkedIn, but also how you can communicate across the board. So it's one of my courses on LinkedIn Learning, and it's brand strategy, and it's defining your creative edge. I highly, highly recommend it. If any of you guys in here has taken it, just let everyone else know in the comments. Again, we're kind of bringing you back to hear it from someone else, but it's really, really helpful to kind of help you how you could take this content strategy and really implement that to be your authentic self and stand out in the industry when we feel like there's so many of us. There's really great ways to do that. So thank you, thank you, thank you guys. I feel like I just kind of bulldozed through a lot of energy, but this is a time where we can talk about any questions, any additional insight that you guys might want to hear about using LinkedIn for creatives.
We have been picking up some questions. We have a few, not too many just yet, but I'll drop the link in chat again. If y'all have any more questions, feel free to drop them in here. And we can get to those. Also, I dropped in the link to make this course that she said at the end, so go sure to check it out.
Thank you.
Yes, take advantage of that. So yeah, I mean, these are the questions that we have. If your goal is to find clients, what do you suggest to put in your open to section?
Yes. So if you're trying to find clients, I would say select open to new work, open to work, because then that lets someone who is even a recruiter may say, hey, you might be a great fit for us. So that gives them already that visual cue. And it also lets their LinkedIn algorithm on the back end know that you're looking for work. So you may even be seeing new prompts for job opportunities in your areas. So as the salespeople or the people who are recruiting for that particular position in your city, those little informations will start to pop up and say, hey, there's a new job in Las Vegas as a creative director. Ooh, then you might want to click on that. So I definitely would do that if you're looking for work. That's a really great opportunity to leverage that.
Right.
And
Hi.
then I
Yes.
see the other
There's-
question about creator mode and SSI.
yes.
Okay,
So
awesome. So
it,
great,
go ahead. Go
great
ahead.
news. No, I'm like super excited. So the great news is that both creator mode and SSI is accessible to anyone. So you guys, all you need to do is go to that link, the linkedin.com/sales/SSI, and that just use that, and it'll actually, once you're logged into your profile, it'll pull those numbers for you. So anyone can access that. And I believe they update it, I think it's every other day or once a week. It's fairly often. So one week it might be great, the other might not be that great, and that's okay. Remember, I was telling you, give yourself a little grace as you're kind of building your cadence. And if life gets busy, because it happens with me quite often, and you don't post as often, that's okay. Just use that as insight. Creator mode is something that everyone should have access to, and you'll see the way that you can switch it only on your mobile phone. You can't really see how to switch it on the desktop. So make sure that you're on your phone, on your edit your profile, and you scroll down and you'll see the creator mode there. If you don't see it, you can ask me a question or just Google it, and it'll kind of give you like a quick little step by step that I wasn't able to show because I had mine activated, but it's really easy.
Sweet. And another question just came in. So if we're self-employed, do you recommend we create a company business profile too, or and any tips for managing both the personal profile and the business one?
That's an excellent question because that's me. So I do have both. I have one for the business and I have my one personal one that I'm a lot more active in. So the only caveat that I'm going to tell you, and this is me, you guys, the ones that know me know that I am transparent. It's a lot more work. It's twice as much work trying to be engaging and kind of being present if you're going to have to. On my business profile, even though I do sometimes have someone on the team kind of help me post stuff, we're not as interactive and engaged as we should be. So if you are going to have two profiles, make sure that you have the time and investment to be able to do that. So I know that sounds like really weird gibberish English, but it's really that if you want to invest the time in doing that, do it. But if not, then just stick to your personal one and still share things about your company, share your websites, share uh, articles that link to your blog. If you do have a blog on your business site, find those clever ways to link them. And if not, at least try to post something once a month. If you're trying to kind of build that momentum, just know that you may have to be a little more strategic when you're posting things only for the business. You can tell some personal stories behind the people like you or your clients for your business profile page, but it has to be more intentional than what you would do on your personal LinkedIn page. That answered your question. Awesome. If not, I'm happy to add a little bit more, but essentially it's just the investment of the time is more by doing both. And you don't have to have them both. There's people who are very successful who just have their personal profile and they're good to go.
Thank you, Nicte. And if y'all have any other questions, feel free to either drop them in there or just unmute your mic and ask a question as well. Oh, there we go. I need to do this more often. I like the way this works. So what if you were working full-time for a company, but want to use your LinkedIn for freelance business? How do you suggest to straddle that fence?
Great question. I love that. First thing is making sure that your company or your boss is okay with you taking on freelance work, as long as you know you're holding up to your ethics and everything. Then what you can do is you can have an added area under your experience where you have your company that you work for, great, but then you have an added area for your experience where you say what you do as a freelancer. So you can say, I take on, select amount of jobs as a freelancer. This is the type of work that I do, and have some examples that you can to start to build that momentum. then you can strategically start to share content that says, hey, this is one of the great projects that I did for this client. I really was happy with the results. The client loved the type of work and the impact it had on their company. I'm looking to support other businesses in that realm. Let me know if I can help you or if you know someone that I can connect. So you can start to build those in, and you're still showcasing the work that you do, but building that connection strategically.
Thank you, Nicte. Any other questions? If I see them, I'll ask you again. But that was awesome, Nicte. That was great. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank
all of the
you.
tips and everything. Just I love the energy. I can't say that enough.
Thank you. It
Yeah,
was awesome to be here with you guys.
thank you, thank you. And also thank you to everyone else that showed up. I'm really glad we're back on, and we'll keep going. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions about anything else, shoot us an email here, follow us on social media, and reach out. But yes, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you guys to Anthony and Jimena, you guys, and Jessica. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I feel like I'm still in San Antonio a little bit, so I am loving the energy. I'll be back soon, but this was awesome.